Okay, so I've got a few things to say about the Pokemon Go conference, which I just finished watching. Most of these are negative, hence the title, but even so, I do have one positive thing that I'll throw in at the end just to end it on a positive note. This is going to be mostly rambled since I just kind of have my list of tweets as the thoughts to remind me of everything I absolutely hated about this. But, we'll just see how this goes. The reason I don't have any video for this, before anyone wonders, is I don't have a webcam yet, and I don't want to use any footage of E3 because Nintendo's been on a streak of just being awful with their content stuff. ID claims and whatnot. So, the first thing is, it felt like a waste of time, honestly. And I get that it really wasn't. We got enough information within the hour for it to warrant being an E3 presentation. So technically it wasn't a waste of time, but it really felt like one. Especially after the Sun and Moon conference where they showed a lot of gameplay. It's just... And I know there wasn't a lot of gameplay to show for Go, it just really felt like a waste of time until they let Jay Witz ask a question, at which point he asked important stuff. And they just really felt like they dawdled. At one point, the translator, who does a fantastic job at translating, by the way, listened to a question, told the guy from Niantic the question in Japanese, and then the guy from Niantic answered in English, which made no sense and wasted about 2 minutes. So I didn't really get that. Bill was terrible. Asking about the music at one point. Music's fine. Not something that needs to be brought up at an E3 conference. They showed the gameplay. So they pulled the gameplay up on a big screen. I assume they had it like the phone plugged in, or it was an emulator. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure the phone was plugged into like the projector. I'm not going to judge the quality of it because I get that stuff's finicky and there's not a ton you can do when you're showing off a mobile game. But, like, they only showed the gameplay. They didn't show them while they were playing the game. So they'd be like, oh, you have to spin the Pokeball and target on the Pokemon for it to do something, or for it to be better, you have a higher chance of catching it. And that's fine. Not once did they say how you do this. I assume you just spin it by, like, swiping the screen with your thumb, but we don't know this for sure. This is supposed to be some kind of a tech demo. It's E3, and they're just, like, saying, like, oh, yeah, you have to do this, I'm Bill, ha-ha, but they're not showing what they're doing. They're just saying, throw Pokeball, get Pokemon. And it was a really terrible demonstration. And then we get to the Go Plus. And this is short. They really didn't give much information. We get to Pokemon Go Plus, and I was planning on getting this, and I still will, but I unfortunately won't be able to get it on release. And if you've seen the conference, you know why. But I'll get to that in a minute. They really did a terrible job explaining it. Like, oh, if it shines one color, and you click it, and you might catch a Pokemon, and if it's rainbows, you got it, and if it's red, you didn't. They never explained what are the odds of catching it. They're like, it's not guaranteed. Well, no, I didn't expect it to be guaranteed. But you said specifically earlier while you were showing the game that you need to throw the Pokeball, you need to try and aim it up with a target, you can spin it to increase your chances. You cannot do that on the Go Plus as far as I can tell. And if you can, they didn't explain it. So assuming that you cannot do that with the Go Plus, all it does is make the game harder. Because it means you're less likely to catch Pokemon, and since literally everything relies on you catching Pokemon, the whole thing's harder. Like, the game just becomes more difficult. They gave a release date for the Pokemon Go Plus, which is before the end of July. This is not bad. The complaint I have with this is literally everyone watching the conference is like, oh, Pokemon Go comes out in July. Polygon. Like, right after the conference, Polygon released an article saying Pokemon Go comes out in July, release date. No. Pokemon Go Plus comes out in July. Now, most likely Pokemon Go will come out before it. It'd be ridiculous if it didn't. But that means Pokemon Go could come out this month. It doesn't have to come out in July. Pokemon Go Plus comes out in July. They even specifically said at the end of the conference that Pokemon Go, the release date, they didn't say it. They only said it for Plus, and yet everyone's freaking out. I know Polygon's a trash, quote-unquote, news site, but, like, people aren't even listening. They're just like, go, yeah, yeah! They're not paying attention. And that just got on my nerves. It's not really the conference. The idea of that. The worst part, though, of the entire conference was that the Go Plus device is $35. I'm trying to not swear. I'm censoring myself in case just like anyone who doesn't care about swearing or younger just stumbles upon this because Pokemon Go. On my Twitter, there's a lot of F-bombs about this. The fact that this tiny thing, this like Google Maps symbol with a Pokeball on it, is $35 is absolutely ridiculous. That is almost the price of Pokemon Sun and Moon. Not together, but you know what I mean. And a lot of people are like, oh no, it's fine because the game's free. The device is $35. It's optional. That's exactly why it's bad. I would pay $35 to play Pokemon Go. $35 to not have to look at my phone to play Pokemon Go is ridiculous. Just play the game for free. Now that being said, like Jay Witz brought up, I do go running a lot and I would like to play it while I go running. So at some point I will probably end up getting it. But I'm on a tight budget. I can't afford $35 for something where I push a button. And on top of that, you are paying $35 to make the game harder, as I brought up earlier. Because you can't target the Pokemon, spin the Pokeball, whatever to increase chances. That you're paying $35 to make the game more convenient, but also less likely that you are to catch something. It doesn't need to be that price. 20 was like the absolutely most acceptable amount, and that was pushing it. And they just... Something funny is they made the comment while they were showing the Pokemon evolving, I think it was Charmeleon and the Charizard, we expect people to play the game outside. And while showing it, they showed an evolution, and the screen was black. You expect people to play the game outside, evolution screen's black, which is going to be almost impossible to see out in sunlight. Those two things were unrelated to each other, they just happened to be showing one while saying that, but it was just great timing of how terrible it was. Trading won't be available at the start of Pokemon Go, and their actual reasoning for this is that, not that it wasn't finished, which I'm sure is the actual reason, that they want to get Go Plus out as soon as possible, which means they need to release Go by the end of July. I get that, and there's a certain amount of me that would accept that, except that's not the reasoning they gave. They said, we are not releasing trading from the start because we want people to focus on the core gameplay of the game. We know that people, when they play a game, they want to focus on a little bit, and then we add some extra depth to the game. No, Nintendo, that's not how games work. You don't tell me what I want in my game, and then you time gate it because you think you know when I want it. No. You either put trading in the game from the start, or you tell us it's not ready, but we're going to go ahead and let the game out and just work in these other features. That's fine. That's acceptable. And it's so irritating. I've lost my train of thought now. I've actually gotten really irritated about that. I had another point on trading, and it's now just completely flown out of my mind. Oh my god, it took me like a full minute to think of that. I don't know why. I'm cutting all that out. But the fact that they said you have to add depth to the game, you want you to focus on the core. Pokemon! Trading is the core! Trading has always been the core of Pokemon. Yes, there's a lot more to Pokemon, but trading has always been there. Trading is not extra depth to Pokemon. It's a main point of the game, especially when the majority of the game is single player. The only real actual like person-to-person multiplayer you're gonna have is trading. That needs to be in the game from the start. We got no details about the egg feature, which is what I was most excited about because that works on pedometer, so that's best for exercise, which is the whole point. I'm really interested in the game. The game's starting with only Kanto Pokemon, and then over time they'll add the rest. That's not really negative. That's fine. It's expected. It gets the game out faster. I'm gonna assume, they didn't say anything about it, I'm gonna assume that the updates to add more Pokemon is free and won't cost because $35. If the plus is $35, I'm gonna assume everything in the game is gonna be super easy to do, free, and there's a few optional microtransactions. They are not money milking this with a little plastic thing that's $35. That's the money milker. I can't get over that. And finally, last but not least, the one positive thing I can say about this is that they did confirm that the Plus would be coming out before the end of July. I don't think they were planned to announce that. I think either Jaywitz or Cybertron asked, and they were like, I think we're allowed to say end of July, which is great. That means most likely, unless when they say it's available they mean pre-orders, which they could do, and that's what I have to keep telling people, most likely the game comes out either this month or next. And that's fine, that's exciting. Would have liked more details on the game. There was a little more information about rarities and stuff, but this is obviously about the bad in it. Because, people know the good. People are going on and on about how good the good is. But that's my problem. Mainly trading in the $35 Go Plus thing are the ridiculous bits. Overall, I think the conference wasn't handled well. That's the gist of it. If you enjoyed it, that's great. I'm ready for Go still. I hope it doesn't suck.